Hey everybody, what's going on? Your host LovelyCheesePizza here. Welcome back to Sports Sunday, where we talk about sports, life, and everything in between. And, you know, I really wish that I hadn't sat down to start doing this right now, because I have to take a shit so bad. And I could just stop the recording right now and go do it, but you know what? I've already committed. I've already made the choice that I'm going to sit down and do this, and I'm going to live with that decision. You know, you've got a responsibility. You get your ass out there and you find that fucking dog. So I'm hoping for a relatively clean, fast episode so that I can go take care of that before, you know, I start like having to crawl down the hallway from not being able, from like all the pressure building up in my Bartolo cologne here. So we got another round against the lovely ladies here, and I'm feeling okay about it. And by the way, can we all just have one giant round of applause for the fact that the Golden State Warriors are no longer an undefeated team in the NBA. Oh, it makes me so happy on the inside. Like, okay, let's not get it twisted here. Like, I do hate the Warriors. I do. They're not a team that I particularly enjoy at all. But I'm not going to, you know, I'm not going to not acknowledge the fact that run that they went on was pretty fucking crazy. Like, we can all, as sports fans, appreciate that that was a really cool run to start a season. Like, being able to witness history in any capacity, even if it's a team that I can't stand, like, it's cool to be able to, that, you know, when I'm talking to my kids about sports someday, that I can be like, hey, back in 2015, I totally watched, you know, one of the greatest, you know, openings to a season of all time. Even if it was a team that I loathe with every, you know, blood cell in my body, but that's a different story altogether. That's not gonna work. But crazy enough that it happened to the Bucks. Like, we were all reminded today that the Milwaukee Bucks are actually a franchise that exists in this world. And strangely enough, a little piece of trivia, they were actually the ones when the Lakers had that, 33 or 34 game win streak. The team that ended that streak was the Milwaukee Bucks, believe it or not. So, even though they totally suck the left side of Hitler's ballsack in his own grave, they do still possess the ability to end large winning streaks. So they gotta be good for something. And I'm gonna say that the reason why they were able to do it is totally on the merit of the Portland Trailblazers for giving them the confidence that they could win the game, because they totally beat Portland on some actual, total, certified organic bullshit earlier this week, in a game where Portland was ahead by like, I think they were ahead by like 4 or 5 points with like 15 seconds. Oh my god, it's gone! It's a grand slam! Yeah! Who hit that? Was that Snakes? Oh my god, we have transcended into God mode! That was Snakes. That was awesome! Oh man, I've only hit just a couple of grand slams ever in this game. That was fucking awesome! Yeah! Oh, that was so cool. But yeah, so Portland totally blew a lead, and, you know, it was a game where that just, like, it kind of, like, propelled Milwaukee into this higher plane of existence for a couple games. I don't know how they did for their other games after that, but I'm just relying on the idea that that's how it worked. So, but then I had to watch, you know, Portland go lose yet another game where they were leading in the fourth quarter by double digits and ended up blowing it and losing, and that just, like, kills me on the inside. And it was to the Knicks, the New York Knickerbockers, the fucking New York Pants. Just sucks. Knickerbockers were pants, right? I've been calling them that for a while, and I'm almost unsure now at this point whether that's actually what Knickerbockers are. But if I'm not mistaken, I'm pretty sure that that is another term for pants. Because I know that knickers are. Like, don't get your knickers in a twist. That whole saying or whatever. But yeah, so they ended up losing to the Knicks tonight, in a game where they kept that Kristaps Porzingis fellow from scoring at all. I think he actually ended up going like 0 for 7 for 0 points and like no rebounds or anything. And you would think in a situation where that happens, you're probably going to win the game. But oh no, fucking Carmel Anthony decides to just come traveling out of his weird-ass shooting slump grave and has 37 points, and they have these miracle performances from players I don't even know fucking existed, like Kyle O'Quinn. Who ever heard of a black guy, by the way, named with a last name of O'Quinn? Kyle O'Quinn. And he had like 15 or 16 points tonight, and then some other guy, I don't even remember what the hell his name was, he had like 14 points on a perfect night of shooting. It's like, God, of course Portland finds a way to pull that shit off. But I was streaming the game online while I was playing some Fear earlier, and I did not know it, and maybe this is false, but I feel like it has to be, but I did not realize that the Knicks play-by-play announcer, or at least when he's not doing games on TNT, is totally Mike Breen. That's fucking awesome. Like, Mike Breen is arguably my favorite play-by-play announcer outside of the Portland Trailblazers radio guy. That guy is like the pinnacle of it for me. But yeah, dude, he's the Knicks guy, and that's fucking awesome. Like, Mike Breen is I love his voice. He has like one of the coolest voices for color commentary. And it's actually surprising that he's like their guy, considering that he's actually like a pretty unbiased dude, because he's got to be on national television. So for regular network games. So it's I mean, usually you get like the hometown guy. Like, those guys are ultimate homers. Like, they are the homie, like the homeriest of homer guys. But he's a pretty cool dude. He's a pretty cool dude. So you can be all good with that. We might actually end up 10 running these gals at some point. We're really jumping out to a big lead here. So we'll see what happens. But tonight, actually, I've got a little bit of a talking topic here, and it's actually pertinent to baseball. So this is good. I actually got my very first fan requested topic. Oh, god damn it! That's not what I meant to do. I meant to totally hit B, just to run to the base, but I kind of slipped and hit both of them. But I got my very first fan requested talking topic for this show, and I'm actually really excited about it. This is gonna suck. Ah, shit. And it was submitted to me on Twitter from SoccerFW5, and oh no, oh god, oh, I got you. Dummy. Okay, we got 2 outs. All we gotta do is just prevent any sort of runs from being manufactured here, because we could really stand to have what is it? Harry's on the mound tonight, right? We could really stand to have his ERA go down a little bit. It's been kind of rough sailing in the very beginning games here. But the question that he brought up was, what are the Cubs' chances of getting back to the World Series this coming year? And even though I'm a White Sox dude, and I would love to see the Cubs not do anything, they've got a pretty good chance to make a return trip, man. Like, they already had a really good-ass team as it was, last year, but they just got better like 2 days ago when they acquired fucking Jason Hayward from the Cardinals for some amount of year. It was like an 8-year deal or something. It was crazy. But it was some kind of really long-term, high-money deal, because all baseball deals are like that anymore. But, I mean, that adds another really good defensive, punch for them, essentially. And he's a pretty decent power hitter. So, they added more offense and pretty solid defense. Like, I think since 2011, no right fielder has more defensive, saves, essentially. Or whatever the term is for, preventing runs from scoring from the outfield, like outfield assists or whatever I think it is. So, I mean, that's really good for them. But, so, I mean, that they have a pretty solid chance, I would say, because, I mean, obviously, the Cardinals are going to be good, because they always are. The Pirates are probably still going to be pretty good, but the Cubs are definitely going to challenge, if not, win their division, just depending on how that all shapes up, but they're going to be fucking good, man, and I hate it, because I want the White Sox to be the dominant team in Chicago, or at least just the better one. They're not going to be the fucking dominant team in anything for a while, but obviously that's not going to happen. But in the broad scheme of things, I guess it's probably good for the sport of baseball when the Cubs are actually relevant. Even though that's kind of a weird thing to say, I find it weird, and that kind of spans across a lot of sports, like, it's such a weird statement to make when you say that the sport as a whole is better when a certain team is good, like the Yankees, or the Cubs, or, I don't know, probably like even like the New York Knicks in basketball, I guess you could say, because I mean they're like the huge market team. Or like the Lakers, like basketball as a whole is better when the Lakers and the Celtics are good, even though neither one of them are fucking good at all right now. It seems weird to say that, but in terms of baseball, it probably is good that the Cubs are actually relevant in the baseball scope. But otherwise, I feel like that doesn't really make any sense. Like, I feel like as long as the sport in itself is competitive, and, you know, there are teams that are good, then I don't think it really matters whether, you know, the big teams are good or not. Because, like, in basketball, I mean, obviously the Lakers and the Celtics aren't good, but basketball is still doing great on its own, because you've got, like, teams like the Warriors that are doing amazing, and you've got, you know, Cleveland's doing really well, and the Spurs are great, and you've got, you know, all the teams with superstars are still really good. So, I don't know. Maybe I'm kind of contradicting myself on that, but I think that maybe in terms of baseball, it's probably good that, like, you know, that a team like that, you know, they're striving so hard to get that elusive World Series title. Maybe it's good that they are good, so that we can witness the ever-going streak finally come to an end at some point. So who knows? Who knows? I'm pretty excited as a White Sox fan, though, because they did make their own acquisition a couple days ago, where they made a little bit of a defensive bolstering by adding Brett Lowry from the A's. And I feel like they're always adding players from the A's. Either that or, like, sending players to them. It seems like they have, like, this weird sort of, like, you know, cross-country sort of, like, umbilical cord where they're just sending people to and from each other all the time. But, yeah, whatever. What do you do? Oh, God. Ah! Yeah! That was a great play. Imagine, like, that would have been a fucking web gem right there. Because that thing was well over the head. I mean, that wasn't even close, but, I mean, he got up there. He skied for it and was, you know, laying on his ass. Alright, we're just a couple runs away from putting the 10-run rule in effect here. I'm hoping that we can pull it off. Oh, gross. That was nasty. So, okay. I think that, I mean, I'm a guy that listens to the radio a lot. Like, that's one thing that, like, especially for sports, like, the radio is actually probably one of my preferred ways of... Oh my God! Why did he do that? That was a for sure out. Why the hell would you try to throw that home? Just hold on to the ball for another fraction of a second and you got me. What a dumbass. Oh, yeah. All right. Oh, man, that was such a weird thing that just happened. Why the hell did that happen? But yeah, anyways, back to it, since this game's gonna probably be over pretty quick here. Oh, come on. That's coming down. That's not coming down. However, nope, that's not gonna happen. No way. But yeah, I love listening to sports on the radio. I think that you get such a better experience out of it when you're listening to, like, usually, like, the hometown guys for radio, but even, like, when you got, like, ESPN radio or CBS or NBC or whoever the fuck it is, like, you can get good quality, you know, color commentary for stuff like that. And today, I went and delivered some product to a lady, and I decided to go to Taco Bell to get some lunch. And I ended up being in line at Taco Bell for, seriously, like, 35 minutes. And there were only 5 people in line in front of me. Like, it was fucking crazy that it took, like, just, like, the better part of almost 10 minutes to take care of each person. And it's not like it was really busy on the inside. Like, it was just... I think they were, like, understaffed, because when I finally got up there, I saw, like, one person doing the drive-thru, and everybody else was just scrambling like hell in there. But anywho, I was watching, or I wasn't watching, I was listening to the Army-Navy game. There it is! There's our first 10-run rule game of the year. There we have it. That was awesome. Only one inning that we didn't score, but man, that grand slam by Snakes was fucking awesome. That was the coolest thing that has happened so far. 69! Yes, simultaneous oral sex for our dollar amounts for winning. That's all you can hope for. But yeah, I was listening to the Army-Navy game, And it was actually really close. Like, Navy owns that series. They are so much better for some reason. Like, I don't know why necessarily. I find it weird that Navy is the only good college football program out of like all the armed services. Like, the Marines don't even have a team, and like Air Force is usually always okay. But Army, like, since like I think it was like the 50s, or maybe I think they may have had like a team in the 80s that was pretty good. But since like the 50s. The Army has been awful. Like, they've been pretty bad. But like back, like I think it was back in like the 40s or the 50s, they were like a fucking powerhouse. Like, they were incredible. But as of late, no way, not even close. Man, we need to get his running up. His running is really bad. I think we're gonna do that. We'll do that with 1 in prestige there. We'll go. So I'm listening to this, and it was 21-17 Navy with like 10 minutes left in the game, and Army's kind of driving down the field, and like they're getting really into it because like I feel like even though they were trying to be unbiased, like these guys really wanted Army to win the game to end like their 14-year losing streak or something crazy like that. And so they're driving down the field, and they ended up fumbling a snap, but they recovered it. And then on the next play, they had like this 35-yard gain down the field. And on the very next play, they fumbled the snap again, and they lost the ball to Navy. And the guys were just losing their shit. They're like, oh my god, he fumbled the ball! And Navy recovers! Oh god, what a mishap! It was just like they were totally losing it. And like, I've never really heard it before like that, where they're just so like, they're so wildly biased, and like they're not even hiding it at all. And like you're kind of like almost totally okay with it, because it just like you almost want them to win too. Like I like Navy, I think they're pretty awesome, but I wanted Army to win so bad because like they're so poor and unfortunate souls with the way they've had some of these games go with Navy in the last few years, but. So they end up stopping Navy. We're going to stop it here in just a minute. I'll finish up the story, then we'll call it good. But they end up stopping Navy, and so Navy punts the ball, and it goes into the end zone as a touchback. And on the very next play, Army's quarterback goes back to pass, which is a rare enough occasion as it is because they run the triple option and they never pass. And so they're like, he goes back to pass, and he throws it, and it's intercepted! Oh my god! They just like totally lost it again. And just 2 straight turnovers on 2 possessions, and but then they were able to stop Navy again, and so they end up punting the ball into the end zone again, and so there was like 3 minutes to go, and they start driving down the field, and they're down to like the 40-yard line of Navy, and on the next play they do like this crazy wide receiver reverse pass. And the receiver ends up throwing it down the field, and it gets intercepted again, and they in the end zone, and they end up losing the game. But it's like, how incredibly unfortunate, like Cleveland Browns / like Detroit Lions-esque luck do you have to have 3 straight turnovers on 3 straight drives when you could have scored to take the lead and possibly win the game? It's just like, oh god, it was so awful. And I'm just sitting there like on the edge of my seat waiting to get my food at Taco Bell, and oh my god, it was so awesome. Just like, that's like, if you guys don't listen to sports on the radio, I highly implore you to do it because it is so awesome. Like, it forces you to kind of use your imagination to picture what's going on a little bit, but it is so cool to listen to how energetic and into it the guys get sometimes. Like, that's why I'll pick radio feeds over like the live TV feeds half the time, because on radio they just get way more energetic. It's so awesome. So yeah, with that said, I think we're gonna call it good for right now, which is fantastic because I am on the verge of exploding. This is really bad. So when we come back on the next installment, well, maybe not the very next installment, but when we come back on another episode of Sports Sunday, we will take on the lovely ladies for the 8th time and see if maybe we can maybe hit some more home runs. Probably won't be of the Grand Slam variety, but it'll still be a fucking awesome variety. So until then, my friends, this is your host, Lovely Cheese Pizza, saying thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye, everybody. Warriors are not undefeated anymore! Yes!